Behind the Counter is sponsored by
Hover.com. Domain names made simple. Go to gfq.hover.com and get 10% off your entire purchase. And by Stitcher Radio. Listen on the go via the Stitcher mobile app. For more information, go to stitcher.com/GFQ.
Hello out there in the internet wonderland. Welcome to another episode of Behind the Counter. I'm your host, Rich Stambolian, and with me, as always, a man who will most certainly poison your wine, the living legend, Mean Jon Adler.
Ooh!
All right.
Hopefully it'll stick.
I got it out there. It'll be awesome. Like, are you cool with that?
I'm fine with that.
Just Mean Jon?
Mean Jon.
I'll tell you something, Mean Jon. That's how we're doing the start of the books of the week.
I don't know. Did I poison your wine?
What?
Did I ever poison your wine?
You may have.
I think I poisoned
I
your
saw
wine.
your Facebook thing
thanks.
before, and I was like,
I think I poisoned some wine.
I poisoned your wine. So
It
what's
was-
up? What's up, dude?
You know, you live the same life I do, so you know what's going on.
Very parallel. Very
Existences.
parallel existence, yeah.
We are a binary star.
Mm-hmm.
And for those who don't know what a binary star, it's two stars that rotate each other and form one.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
That's really sweet, man. We got a lot for you today. It's going to be an action-packed episode.
Oh, what an episode.
Oh, what an episode. Oh, what a beautiful night. There will be some ups and downs and some drama. There's some drama in the comic industry this week with the Chris Robertson leaving DC thing and pretty much calling DC scumbags, which is cool, but, you know, we're not going to talk about that. I don't know. We're not going to talk about it this week, right?
It's not so much.
Yeah. Because we don't know the full story. You know, we both also feel that fandom and creatordom there has been a big derision between both.
We're
you know?
not quite sure why people feel certain ways in fandom right now about this topic.
Yeah.
And it's still kind of fresh. It's something that we've talked about before.
Mm-hmm.
We will probably go into it as more crap trickles down the Twitter drama that's going on right now.
Well, that's the thing, because it's you can put if you're a creator, you can put your stuff out there and just say, like, I hate this, I hate that, I hate this. And if you're a fan, you do the same thing. But it's always been one-sided. Now it's
strange.
You have creators kind of fighting back with fandom, and you know what? We take our shots at creators on occasion, but this is just something that's kind of like, and you feel the same way, where it's bubbling over into like kind of like this weird area of like almost rock stardom and like odd like fandom.
There's a weird gigantic gap between those two areas where it feels like you could, you know, kind of, and you are closer with the creators now. You can't communicate with them. You have the means for it, but there's like a weird divide. As close as they are, it just seems like they're just getting further away.
Yeah.
Just like, you don't know what you're talking about.
Absolutely.
You're not in the biz.
Absolutely, man. And it's also, I'm not going to blame anybody, but like you have the whole, a lot of social media, especially with Twitter, you know, like you attach yourself to a book, you put your face on your Twitter account, you'll immediately have, like I've seen like indie comic creators who have like thousands and thousands of followers, you know, and people like to bitch and moan a lot. So I'm sure there's a lot of followers out there who will just say, hey, I read the last issue of so-and-so, and it really sucked, dude. Yeah. Like, how are you going to impress me next time? You know, and it kind of like, I feel like it drives creators up a wall where that fourth wall is kind of shattering a little bit now.
It is.
You know?
It is.
Where, like, it's not dudes working in a building in Midtown anymore, faceless guys who, if you're a real fan, you'll know on the street, maybe like 1 out of 1,000. But you know what? You can look up anybody who writes a book or draws a book, find them on Instagram, find them on Twitter, find them on Facebook, and then just give them a ton of crap, you know?
Yeah.
And it sucks, man. You would not want to be clawed at all day.
And how often do you hear anything positive coming from like if you read a news article and then all of a sudden you start, you know, going through the comments, how often do you hear anything positive?
Right. No, you're absolutely right.
It's all like vile, just like self-effacing, like disgusting behavior.
Yeah. It's snarkiness at its, I don't want to say finest, but
trolling.
It's just, yeah.
It's like it's a lot of it is trolling, especially on message boards, man. I think and a lot of creators have separated themselves from reading forum or chats or anything like that, or like I wouldn't. Me personally, I know it's about self promotion and everything. I would not be on Twitter if I was a creator.
Right.
The connection thing is cool and everything, but like I don't need to hear every retweet, bad review that you give me.
Yeah.
It's just like it's got to hurt you at some point. It's one thing to listen to criticism, but when you start, closing yourself off and not even going near it anymore, and like feeling that you're above, the fans, it's gonna get weird.
It's gonna implode.
Yeah.
Because then and you also leave yourself open to the fact that like everything is so go now more than it has been like when we were like coming into our own being comic fans, like when we were teenagers, like there would be the one convention every so often, but now you're getting conventions in every single, like not every single state, but you're getting conventions territorially everywhere now. And if you're a creator and you want to make a little extra buck, you go to these things. If you're an artist, you got to sell your wares, and you have to go. And that leaves you open to dudes coming to your table and saying, like, I need this, and this. Why'd you do this? I'm going to flip this on eBay. Yeah. Like, work for me, troll. Like, work for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of fans at this point are a bit on the spoiled side.
I completely agree with that.
And, everyone wants the best possible product coming out. Everyone has their idea of what the best possible product could be. I just don't agree with a lot of the way that people are shifting in the way that they feel about certain opinions. Yeah, and even with like a lot of people who I think had a great deal of integrity in the business are going in a different direction. Like a lot of the people associated with the Watchmen stuff. Yeah. A lot of these guys are like creating a very, very like alienating personality. Yeah. With the way that they are talking about how they should be handling a property like this. Right. Which is very unusual. And it's like you don't expect that from them.
Well, and
and money talks. I mean, I know it's a project.
You're 100% right, dude. Money does talk, man.
Especially in DC.
You're absolutely right, because you almost get like these dudes, like especially with the Watchmen thing, which has kind of brought it to the forefront a little bit, and also with Avengers coming out, because you kind of have the same two fronts on it with the ethical question of, is it right to do this? With Jack Kirby and Alan Moore and all this stuff. But I don't think that.
Do you even think about that really when it comes down to it?
I want awesome. Yeah. Like me personally, and like I'm guilty. We're both guilty of like bitching and moaning about stuff, but like I think we can separate ourselves from it and just be like, listen, there's real shit going on in the world today. Even though I hate Hawkeye's costume or Superman's new costume, it's not the be all end all for me, Yeah. But the fact that like these guys get criminalized for projects that they're essentially trying to make a buck, sell books, and give people something kind of new or with a new spin, they're getting criminalized, and that's kind of wrong.
Yeah, I'm just reading something really like bizarre.
Did somebody just say they hate you?
Yes, it's a very bad review of me. They just appointed Dan Fraga as the director of the Ricky Gervais show.
The Dan Fraga.
Yeah,
like
the guy we're usually saying like Dan. What's going on, Dan Fraga? I answer your question.
Extreme Studios, Dan Fraga,
director.
Very nice, very nice. I think he did the that troll comic for
sure he did
Image back in the day,
which I probably still have,
and maybe a few fill-in issues of.
He was also that Image character that had to shave his body regularly.
Troll?
Yeah,
was he?
He was a little blue guy who had to put on like body paint and like shave his body. I know about Troll, man. I read his stuff.
That's awesome. That I guess that's a good segue as any. We're still doing this bit, right?
Oh yeah.
So that was our little take on kind of just like other weird stuff that's going on.
I'm gonna call that eluding the news.
Yeah, news. Go look at seriously. Look this stuff up, and if you're even like just kind of like want to be like a witness to something weird, just look up what's happening now with like Chris Robertson and the Watchmen stuff and the Avengers stuff, about how like people are just up in arms about license rights and ethical majorities and minorities, and should the big companies do this and that, blah blah blah. That's not for us to say. We're just a couple of dudes who want to read comics and talk about comics every Friday.
Yes,
and we throw comics at each other
all day long.
Literally all day long. All day long. But today we're gonna do an awesome bit where I think it's I'm selling that really hard.
We enjoy doing this bit very much.
I think it's the third time we've done it. It's third, and we should get a graphic for it at some point. This is the third installment of our
fan fiction
friction, where you like that one, right?
Yeah, I do like that.
A third installment of fan fiction friction.
Shut off the dome.
Nice. We've had this. We've done this a couple of times before, where pitch your favorite story, pitch a story for this character, and we would throw names at each other. So this week we're gonna do team ups, and we're each gonna have 3 teams of 2 that we're gonna throw at each other. Cross company, cross character. Anybody who's been in a comic book. Not talking about movie property comic books or anything like that, like comic book characters specifically.
I stuck to the big 2.
Okay, did you?
Not gonna lie, yeah.
I have maybe one from something else that may have been part of the big 2, so that's a little foreshadowing for you. Okay. But we're essentially gonna say, like, for example, I had the one that I pitched the other day about the theme for the show, which was Lobo and Aunt May. Right now, how would you write a team up book with Lobo and Aunt May? We're not even talking about writer and artist team. We're saying, what would the story be? And for example, the story would be Lobo ends up in Queens, sees Aunt May. She looks like the galaxy's greatest bounty hunter. He kidnaps her, takes her to the stars, and basically says, "Hey, do your thing." She's cowering in the corner the entire time. He's fighting armies and armadas of space villains. He's like, "I guess you're not the one." Takes her back to Earth. She goes back to Earth, opens a trunk. There is an intergalactic gun in the trunk and an old suit of armor, and it turns out that Aunt May was actually the world's greatest bounty hunter.
Sick.
So that's a team up. You started off, man.
Yep. All right. So I had a few. I was kind of making this list, and I was basically looking at lists of superheroes.
Right.
Supervillains also. The better ones I have are villains, but I'm going to start with one which I just think is a rockin' idea. Thing. Robot Man.
Ooh, I like that. That's Intercompany. No, not Intercompany. That's cross. Machine Man or Robot Man?
Robot Man from Doom Patrol.
This is kind of rough. All right.
Do you know Robot Man very well?
No, I don't.
Do you know anything about Robot Man?
No, not at all.
Cliff Steele was a cigar chomping everyday man.
He's the orange robot on Doom Patrol,
right? And he basically, he's kind of like Thing in the sense that he has full range of emotions. He's a brain inside a robot body,
right?
Can't be intimate with a woman. If you know that background, I'll give you a better one, man.
No. That's cool. Give me a little more. And it's sad that I'm not. He has the same very close personality as Robot Man,
and he is kind of, he has a problem with intimacy and all this shit. So.
Got it. Okay, so Thing and Robot Man. In this story, it starts out with Ben Grimm as a human being, right?
Okay.
He's kind of sad and he's kind of morose, and he doesn't know what to do because now, he kind of actually misses being the Thing. This is let's say it could be far in the future or whatever, and he's just so used to being a monster. And he approaches Reed, and Reed's like, "Listen, I can't help you. I can't help you be the foundation of the Fantastic Four. I can't help you fight these battles. You're missing out on all this stuff from now on because you're just a regular human being." Goes to a bar, drowns his sorrows. In the corner, he sees Robot Man getting into a fight with somebody because Robot Man is doing the same shtick that he does with the trench coat.
Right? Perfect.
Kind of says, "Hey."
He does that.
Does he?
Yeah.
Kind of says, "Hey, listen, I kind of know what this is like, blah, blah, blah." Robot Man cleans house. They end up talking. He's like, "Oh, hey, I used to be the Thing," and he's like, "I prove it," and he takes out a cell phone with a bunch of weird pictures of him doing Thing stuff, blind girlfriend, the whole nine. They go back to and this is gonna sound terrible. They go back to the wheelchair guy. What's his name? I completely forgot his name.
Niles Calder.
Right, who's a scientist.
Yeah, it's strange. I've maybe read aside from the Grant Morrison stuff, I read maybe 3 regular Doom Patrol comics. I know a lot about them.
It's very interesting.
This is the second time I brought up a Doom Patrol reference too.
Goes to Niles Calder, says, "Hey, listen, I know somebody." Robot Man says, "Hey, I know somebody who may be able to help you." Goes to Niles Calder. He goes, "Listen, what we could do is we could put Robot Man's brain in your human body to make him human for a little bit." And make you Robot Man for a little bit. So they switch brains, and Robot Man ends up on the Fantastic Four.
Oh, that'd be dope.
Realizes it kind of sucks, and he's just happy being human Ben Grimm, but they can't reverse the process. So now he's stuck in an orange metal body, and Robot Man is stuck in Ben Grimm's human body.
Oh.
The end.
I like it.
That's it.
Very good.
Can I tell you mine?
Yeah.
Can I tell you mine?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So it's Wolverine. You can't even with a straight face. It's Wolverine and Cyclops
Okay.
that are battling it out.
Uh-huh.
And then all of a sudden, Cyclops is about to win, and then you hear this. And out comes Kevin Nash.
Get out of here.
Kill it.
No.
If any time it was for that, the hypnotist, like for that hypnotism right there, I would have been it, man.
It's time.
That would have been awesome.
All right. So
And
none of you think that's a good idea?
And at that moment,
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
if that kicked in with our Pavlovian dog experiment, you would have thrown both of us a bunch of money, which would have been great. Anyway, so that would be mine. You ready for yours?
Sure.
All right.
While I'm eating.
Just chew them as loud as you can into the microphone. All right. You know what? We got.
You do it in a very creepy way.
We got about 35 minutes. Can we get the camera on him?
Yeah, there you go. Look at him.
We got about 35 minutes. Let's just spend the rest of this time watching John eat potato chips right now. You're getting some on your giraffe shirt, by the way.
Of course I am. Fucking slob.
All right, you ready? You ready?
Uh-huh.
All right.
Can I just say for the people watching, listening, now watching, John is wearing a T-shirt where it seems like it's either a 3-headed giraffe or a giraffe orgy.
Yeah, it's a little bit of everything.
Okay.
I think it's like an Indian Kama Sutra.
And it's made by the World Wildlife Federation.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I like that. Kama Sutra man. All right. This is yours, and like I really want. I don't know if I want this to happen, but I would buy it just on the premise, not even the premise, but the characterization alone. Black Panther, Jimmy Olsen, go.
Let's while I'm thinking about this for a second, give the background why you would pick someone like Jimmy Olsen.
You know what? Because he is the
Opposite.
He is the exact opposite of every single character in creation. Because Jimmy Olsen has been through every single up and down. He's been brave. He's been cowardly. He's been impartial. He's been completely partial. And he's still Superman's pal. Well, not in new continuity, but, like he always had the out. He was like the jerk. I've always felt like Jimmy Olsen was the kid that you could pick on that always had the big brother.
He won't have this time.
But Black Panther, King of Wakanda.
Okay. I got something.
Owns an awesome condo. Has a pet anaconda.
Not true.
Just stuff that kind of vaguely rhymes with Wakanda.
So Jimmy Olsen's a reporter, or a burgeoning reporter. He photographer.
He's quotation marks.
Reporter. He's done some stories though.
Yeah.
In his later career,
before the relaunch, pre-relaunch.
Are we doing pre-relaunch?
Pre-relaunch Jimmy Olsen, like
old school.
Yeah.
Okay. So
any era Jimmy Olsen, like if you want bowtie Jimmy Olsen showing up in first appearance Black Panther.
This is Clark Kent. He was supposed to do a cover story about Wakanda.
Okay.
And Wakanda corruption.
Okay.
Jimmy Olsen goes over there. He's like, I got an interview with the king, the Black Panther, T'Challa, and his wife, the Queen, Storm.
Right.
I'm gonna meet him and everything. Huge, incredible civil war breaks out.
Okay.
T'Challa's evil brother, the white
tiger. Panther.
It's like a tiger, something like that.
Cheetah.
White jaguar, or something like that. Or a dog. It's a white. It's like a white wolf or something like that.
White Jaguar is an awesome name, by the way.
It is a good name. It's a good metal band also. Huge civil war breaks out Rwanda.
Okay.
And Jimmy Olsen gets taken captured.
Wakanda.
What did I say?
Rwanda.
Well,
I said
it's like
Rwanda.
It's like Rwanda.
I just want to say Wakanda as many times as possible during this
episode.
So
he gets captured. The whole time T'Challa finds out there's a political prisoner. It's an American. I gotta go over here. I gotta do my duty. but it's a civil war. It's like they're trying to overthrow me. So the king has to go undercover for this or whatever. So he goes undercover doing like the old school like Black Panther trench coat. Like that's his undercover stuff.
That's every Marvel's character's undercover thing.
Jimmy Olsen escapes. And actually, because he's a tough dude, he's got into tons of scuffles and everything. He's a scrappy.
He's resilient.
He's very resilient. He was Turtle Boy.
He was Turtle Boy.
He was a lot of things. Last Lad or whatever. So he escapes, and it's basically like the Bourne Identity with Jimmy Olsen in Wakanda.
Okay.
He eventually gets recruited by the Resistance, the White Jaguar people, and becomes the new White Jaguar.
Wow.
And has to face off, and T'Challa has no idea. This is the order he came in to, get into this thing. So stuff goes terribly bad. The Atlanteans get involved. Namor gets into what becomes a huge political thing. Jimmy Olsen's in the middle of it, but he's totally like brainwashed at this point. And he's like, this, new because he became part of this because he had the opportunity to become a new superhero.
Right. Okay.
That's what he was about because he loves having superhero personalities.
Okay.
So he does all this. Black Panther beats the crap out of Jimmy Olsen, beats him down. At that moment, he sees that his wrist, Jimmy Olsen's wrist, is blinking, and it's the Superman watch. And Superman shows up and nearly kills Black Panther and causes a huge a white man, the white Superman comes and destroys Black Panther.
International incident.
Yeah.
I like it.
And ends on that note where it's just like, oh, what's gonna happen next?
I
you see Batman like going like this, like they fucked up.
I've never cursed for 80 years. I've never cursed.
That wasn't bad.
That guy effed up. That was awesome, man. I really liked that. I really like that. I want to see that get made.
Okay, I gotta do one now.
Big 2, if you're listening, get on that. Get on that.
What do I got?
Merge it.
So we're going to my villains.
Amalgam it.
I really want to give you instead of Roadman thing. I want to give you Solomon Grundy thing.
Okay, wait, whatever, man. I'm down.
Ready for this one?
I'm ready.
This is. I would buy this. I would buy Thing Roadman also, but I would definitely buy this. Doom, Sinestro,
Dr. Doom, and Sinestro. Green Lantern.
I'll give you some moments to think. I'll give some background. Dr. Doom, Latverian scientist lord. Sometimes good guy, sometimes bad guy. Has a moral compass of some sort, but he's also a ridiculous person that says, like, I am Von Doom, I will destroy you. And then you have Sinestro, who is a very pious ex-Green Lantern, who is now the Yellow Lantern. Go.
Got it. This is going to be right off the top of the dome. Dr. Doom, it starts out with Doom looking for new energies.
Okay.
Right? And he's in his castle. He's already mastered time travel. He's already mastered the occult. He is not, and he has at one point mastered cosmic energy, but now he's trying to hone universal energies.
Okay.
Right? Taps into, and I could do any Sinestro, right?
Any.
Excuse me. Taps into the fear energy, right? Because he kind of, he's a ruler. He wants to subjugate his people. Taps into the fear energy. The machine misfires in typical Dr. Doom fashion. Didn't really, too bad he didn't have Reed Richards around to tell him that he was messing up. The machine backfires on him. He gets transported Zeta Beam style to Korrigar, which, for those of you listening, is Sinestro's home planet, which at this point in the story is completely subjugated by Sinestro, right? They see Dr. Doom land, and he's covered in green, and he's got the metal armor, and they think he's a Green Lantern coming to save them, but he's not. He decides to take over Korrigar and become
its ruler
and name it New Latveria and start a space empire from New Korrigar. Sinestro gets word of this, comes back to Korrigar. At this point, they Doom and Sinestro both have the fear power, right? They both go at it big time, right? During this entire escapade, somehow, and I'm not quick enough to write this in yet, but somehow Mongul comes back and takes on both of them. And this is Mongul, Mongul comes back with an army. And this is from that period pre-relaunch where Mongul, and it's one of my favorite parts of the Sinestro war story, where Mongul was the leader of the Corps, Mongul comes back with this gigantic army. Sinestro and Doom have to team up. Doom somehow convinces Sinestro that he would be a better leader for Korrigar, sends Sinestro to Earth by proxy to be ruler of Latveria, so that one day that they could both take over the galaxy at some point, taking Sinestro taking Doom's place on Earth, basically.
Dope.
That's it.
Dope.
I don't know if it's dope. It's
I like it.
It's something. It's something. All right.
I think there's a lot of potential in the Doom Sinestro teaming.
I think so.
It's very Namor, like Dr. Doom.
Yeah.
I had Black Adam and Namor.
But
one of them.
ears.
Yeah.
They both. My story would have been that they
Assholes.
both go to the ear doctor and like are jerks.
I would just have them just being like complete, like the worst, like they bring out the worst of each other.
Yeah.
Like they're just like it's constantly escalating, like Step Brothers movie of like the two of them.
Who would bang the most checks in one night? Who would get the most phone numbers in one night? Because they're just
how much damage they can do.
Yeah. How many wars they could start? You know, that's I
the
like
Conquerors.
You ready for yours?
Sure.
This is another crazy one. Quasar.
Well, Quasar.
Man-Bat.
Oh God.
Yep.
Let's give us some background while I do the thinking.
All right. Quasar. What's Quasar's real name? I forget.
Wendell Vaughn.
Wendell Vaughn. Gifted the like all-seeing, almost power cosmic is the cosmic bands from a living planet. They basically make him like the hero of the universe. He's like the Superman of the stars / Captain Marvel.
He's like Green Lantern.
Yeah, you know, Man-Bat, Kirk Langstrom, one of Batman's rogues, developed like a formula, takes the formula, turns him into a bat. Yeah, Batman, Man-Bat. That's pretty much. You need a couple more minutes? Or you,
I think I'm building on something.
Yeah.
So Kirk Langstrom is the Man-Bat. He's messing with his formula, not trying to really cure himself, but he is trying to further evolve.
Okay.
So he figures out how to splice his DNA with an alien form. So he becomes a space bat.
Okay.
And the very beginning of it, he actually gets at peace because it's the first time that he's ever left the atmosphere. And it's an entirely new world.
Okay.
Can breathe in space. He's crazy looking, like, he's a bat that's able to go into the atmosphere and then breathe. So he's got like crazy stuff going on with him. He looks nuts. And he's just like, he loves it. Quasar sees him and he's like, what the fuck is this guy? Like this gigantic space bat.
Immediately thinks it's bad.
He tries to, he's like, oh man, he looks like a crazy bat. It's a gigantic bat that's in space. He's like, what is this? It's not one, you're not being detected as like one of the life forms. You're not an alien life form. I don't know what you are. Pretty far out. I don't know what's going on. So he confronts him, and Man-Bat is basically high off of like space fumes because he's so euphoric about this, and he freaks out. And he thinks it's Green Lantern that is attacking him. He's like, who else would be out here?
Okay.
So they end up fighting. And and the big battle happens.
I wish I had some potato chips to chew on right now. Don't throw. Do not throw potato chips at me right now, please. They're pretty good. This is our professional way of giving John a couple of minutes to think about the resolution of how they fight and then team up in outer space.
So, yeah, my son's been fighting a lot.
So,
they're fighting. Quasar, obviously is pretty much beating the crap out of him.
Okay.
But he's like saying, just surrender, whatever. He's still completely out of it. He's like totally in this like new space Man-Bat personality, and he scratches him. And he contracts the Man-Bat virus.
Okay.
So Quasar turns into a crazy, euphoric space Man-Bat
with cosmic powers.
I
like it.
And two go on adventures together.
You know what?
Go.
That's I would read that. That's perfect. That is a good one shot that would lead into them just like going off into the ether.
It's a really weird story, Don. Of like they keep on getting like this is amazing with Space Man-Bat, and then just like going off.
And they patrol the galaxy forever.
Yes,
I love it. And the quantum bands are completely lost
because it's also he finds happiness.
Okay.
He's not bothering anybody, so he's out in space just being Space Man-Bat.
Now does Ego and Epoch have to find a new champion?
Yeah, he finds that Man-Bat. They split it down the line. They both get a bracelet.
And do they become a bigger man bat when they clink them?
Of course you do.
All right, let's go with it. This is my last one for you. I was thinking about a bunch.
It's my turn.
No, it isn't. Is it? Oh,
I just explained man bat.
Oh my god!
You can't do this to me.
I lost my mind for a second. I'm sorry.
Let me while I'm cooking this one up. Why'd you pick that?
Because I know you love Quasar, and
I do.
I was really thinking about like where would you would never see this? You would never two characters you would never see team up. But again, if anybody's listening out there, any of the big two, any executives who happen to love our show,
I'm gonna give you a choice.
Right, fans just write letters into DC and Marvel.
I'm gonna give you a choice. I'm gonna go third. This is my third and last one. This is you have a choice between Osborn Luther or Bullseye Deadshot or Bullseye Joker.
Bullseye Joker or
Bullseye Deadshot.
Bullseye Deadshot
or Osborn and Luther.
I'm gonna go with Osborn Luther.
I thought you would.
Okay.
I think it's a good idea.
I'm gonna go with Osborn Luther.
I think it's a cool dynamic in there.
Yeah, it is very cool.
You want me to do some background while you rattle?
No, I got it.
You got it? Awesome.
I
thought you would.
I got it. Okay. Osborn Luther. It starts out. This is gonna be the way I'm picturing this book is gonna be extremely wordy. Probably, and this is like I know we didn't say any creators, but like I will either do Bendis or Azzarello right in this one. But it would start out typical boardroom. Lex Luthor is going to be bought out, right? He has stockholders. LexCorp is public. It should be. They never really address that in the comics, but he makes technology and stuff. So he's about to get bought out, right? Goes to the merger meeting. It ends up being Tony Stark.
Oh.
Right? Ends up being Tony Stark.
This is going to be a good one.
Tony Stark says, like, I'm going to buy LexCorp, this and that, blah, blah, blah. You guys have done too much damage. I know what you're really after, etc. Right? There's nothing Lex could do about it. Loses all his money, to Tony Stark. Tony Stark, Stark Industries, totally absorbs LexCorp. Breaks down all their manufacturing plants, whatever. Lex isn't destitute, but he seeks out another businessman who was burned by Tony Stark, Norman Osborn. Approaches Norman Osborn with the idea of the conglomerate of LexCorp and Oscorp, and let's call it LoxCorp, or Oslex, or whatever.
Oslex.
Let's call it Oslex, and they decide to go into business together. Now, Lex has only heard that Norman Osborn is crazy, right? Doesn't really buy into it. However, Norman knows that Lex just flat out hates Superman, doesn't know all the nefarious things he's done, Get together for the business meeting, decide to make this company, and they both... And the whole story is them
making out,
just bald head, bristle, Brillo hair,
just going at it.
Did that sound like where I was going with this?
Yeah, sounds like they totally gonna fall in love with each other.
It's getting really intense on that one.
I thought it was like a
that's how I think.
Like a Jennifer Aniston type story.
Sorry, then they make out in the So they both start basically dishing on. Like, listen, they go to business meeting, they do like the whole martini bar thing. They go to like the penthouse tower, the penthouse, because if you end up in the penthouse, that's when you made it. They're doing this whole thing, and they're like, and Norman's basically like, I hate Spider-Man, and he's like, I hate Superman. He's like, what's the deal with that? He's like, I know he's Peter Parker, blah, blah. He's like, that's you? Like, are you really like the Green Goblin? He's like, yes. Like, I am the Green Goblin. And he's like, all right, listen, man, I created this crazy suit of armor. I ran for president. I did this whole thing, and it's like both of them just kind of like two really douchey businessmen talking about like all this crap, And it's
here's what I want out of this.
Mm-hmm.
Can I make a request?
Go ahead.
I want Lex Luthor in Green Goblin costume, and I want to see Norman Osborn in the armor.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. This is the way I'm setting it up, right? The entire time they're being monitored by Tony Stark and Superman, right? because Tony Stark always says the backup plan Superman is Superman. So they decide that in like a drunken night out, because they're still partying and they're still businessmen, and a drunken night out, Lex turns to Osborn. He's like, you know what, man, that glider looks like a lot of fun. And he's like, honestly, like, it's not really very armored, but that armor looks like a lot of fun too. So they switch and basically do an entire night of mischief and rampage in Metropolis and New York. So you see like Lex in the glider costume and
that'd be so good.
And Norman holding on to it in the armor, and then just like flying into stuff, just like totally drunk, going to like a bodega in the middle of the night, like getting falafel or something, and just like they have the end is basically them waking up with the confrontation from like Superman and Iron Man saying like, you guys are gonna be shut down for good, like this is all you have left, that's it.
I love it. I love it.
That one got me interested.
Yeah,
this guy a boner.
I do actually.
So
and two very unusual hairstyles,
two very bald and
cornrows.
I got last one before we go into the books of the week, and I think you like this one. Iron Man, Conan the Barbarian.
Oh yeah!
All right,
I do like that one. Iron Man and Conan the Barbarian.
Now, for those who don't know, Robert E. Howard created Conan way back in the day. He's a barbarian, and he's pretty young in the book until he becomes King Conan. Also a Marvel property at one point, and then Dark Horse property.
It's very doable.
Yeah.
Which also, not to digress or anything, but what if Wolverine met Conan is still one of my favorite. You ever read that?
No.
It's amazing. Because Conan was a bad guy in it, most of the thing.
Okay.
And Wolverine gets shacked up by Red Sonja and falls in love with her because it reminds her of Jean.
Okay.
And it ends with the two of them going at it. And like Conan's working for like a demon lord that transported Wolverine here. Oh, this is all happening, right? Wolverine got pulled through time because he was doing the Dark Phoenix stuff.
Okay.
So he got pulled right before like the moon stuff happened. So he gets pulled and cuts off Conan's hand. Conan puts his hand to a cauldron and like seals the moon, and he's still fighting. And Wolverine decides to say, and they send Conan off because he's going like in berserker rage, and they send him right with the Phoenix moment, and he like beheads Cyclops, and Phoenix goes crazy and just blows up everything.
All right.
Awesome. That's my story. That was mine.
That's good.
I feel like my heart's telling me to go an X-O-Man War type of thing.
In my head, the end is
him becoming like an X-O-Man War type of character?
Is Conan taking the armor and then finding X-O-Man War to kill him. But that's my ending. Do your own thing. Conan teaming up, Iron Man team up.
See, the thing is, where do you want to go? Do you want to go to Conan's town, or do you want to go to Iron Man town? I would probably start off with Iron Man facing off against Doom, doing like average battle, like you can't do this anymore, Doom, and Doom's like screw you, I'm gonna do this thing, and it probably has to do with Time Machine. They screw up, and both Red Sonja and Conan get transported through time.
Okay.
Mid battle, mid make out.
Just making out.
So Iron Man wraps up his battle. He's like, who are you? He's like, Conan immediately just goes after him. So Red Sonja joins into him, and it's like two crazy, sweaty, like half naked people with swords clang away. And Iron Man is like, I know you guys are like crazy, from another time. I'm gonna do my best to try and figure it out, but Doom's machine's broken. So it's kind of like it's like a rom-com type of thing. Where
is it a love triangle?
They're running around and think. Well, that's the thing is,
it's got to become a love triangle.
Iron Man really starts digging on this redheaded warrior woman. He's starts getting her drunk, and like Iron Man's like Conan's hanging out, like taking baths and like checking out
Conan stuff.
Hanging out with no shirt on, and like
playing with his helmet.
Yeah, doing his stuff and like looking at weapons and like hanging out in the Iron Man's like danger room. And he's making time with his lady. And so he goes ballistic. And this is like Iron Man extremist Iron Man.
Ooh, I like that.
So like he goes after him and like he basically screws up his armor so bad. Somehow he gets him with a good shot. He's going crazy or anything. Iron Man just kind of loses, goes after him. He, what's his name? Conan starts running off, finds his way to the armory, puts on the old school original gray like shell head thing, starts fighting him. And now Red Sonja is defending Tony because Tony's all hurt up, fighting him with this crazy thing, and he's losing his mind, going like, like blasting people. Has a sword in his hand, and Doom shows up. He's like, I fixed the machine. Like, let's send this like savage out of here. They get transported, but Iron Man gets sucked along with them. And he has like non-functioning armor, and he's got extremists, and he doesn't know how to exist. And he ends up killing Conan, becomes Conan, Tony Stark.
Oh wow, I like it.
And he's like the golden king, like,
okay,
in his like armor, this non-functioning armor, and he's very sickly, doesn't last very long. Makes Red Sonja his queen. They have Iron Man 2020, baby, and he becomes like a crazy berserker warlord over there, and the same thing happens, like another Iron Man like type of Doom confrontation, and he's like, been waiting for this, and just goes off into the time portal.
I like it. That was awesome.
Thank you.
That was really awesome. I really enjoyed that. Any mention
of Conan
to Arno Stark thrown in with Conan?
No problem.
You can have my $4 like, immediately. I will.
Be a lot of like weird, awkward like sword fights of like, what are you doing? Stop hitting me with the sword.
Concept alone. Why did Conan pick the gray armor?
Because it's the one that looked like armor that he actually get into.
Okay.
He couldn't figure out how to get into like the space armor. He's like, there's buttons and stuff like that.
The Silver Centurion armor couldn't do it.
The other one, because like that's latches. It's just like it opens up like a casket. Yeah, like that's the one.
I like it.
Plus, I think it's a cool visual of having him in the gray armor with like a sword.
Yeah. Now, what are? Does he have the helmet on too?
You know what? I never think of him with the helmet.
That's a good visual with Conan, with like the Conan hair, scar across the nose.
Yeah, yeah, I know. There's certain like I always just think of Conan so generically, like the Marvel version of like he's like Tarzan. I never think of him with the helmet. I know it's like such a linchpin of like the character, especially in Marvel, but I never think of the helmet.
Well, that was like
because he loses everything.
Yeah,
dude is like pretty much naked half the time.
Yeah. Wow. That kind of freaked me out a little bit. So that was awesome. And
always good.
We're glad that you guys tuned in for Fan Fiction Friction number 3.
And if you didn't, you missed out. You'll never know. You never know about it.
Just the most self-gratification on the show is when we do this. And you know what? If you're tuning in and saying, what's the deal with these guys? Go F yourself.
Too bad.
No. I apologize. I will never.
Being rich this week.
never alienate any of our beautiful viewers.
That's my job.
Who are actually, I got to say, on if you want to follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/BTCJadler, or is it JR Adler? It's J Adler. BTC Rich. I do want to thank those of you who have commented on my Twitter page. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Hope you guys keep watching.
And if you comment on mine, thank you too, but I don't check my Twitter.
I always try to check my Twitter. But we're going to go into some books of the week. We have, 10
minutes?
How much we got, Andrew? 10 minutes? All right. Let's do Avengers X-Men number 2. Take it away, John. Mean John.
What a book. It was a really solid book. This is the fight. The fight is kicking off.
Yeah.
We've got basically the first few blows are being thrown around. Get some cool dialogue between Cyclops and Captain America because they really are like the linchpin of this issue.
Mm-hmm.
Them duking it out because they're such similar characters. They're very, they believe in their stances very very strongly. And plus the fact that you got like 2 helicarriers full of Avengers and like an entire island of X-Men like ready to throw down with these dudes. You also get some great hope moments. Rockin' book. Who did the bar on this? Ramita?
No, I don't believe so. I think it may have been one of the Kuberts.
I think, yeah. Most of it's fighting, dude. It's like...
No, I'm wrong.
Is Ramita?
I'm completely wrong. It's It's John Romita Jr. and Scott Hanna. You know what?
Because it was good. It was good John Romita art. Jr.
It was awesome John Romita art.
Because we've been reading Kick-Ass for like 10 months now.
Yeah.
And not getting good John Romita Jr. art. This issue rocked. It has a great moment. I wish I sent the screen caps to Andrew, but I'm very bad at that stuff. There's like 2 panels like on top of each other, really long panels of just Captain America's eyes and Cyclops' eyes. And Captain America's panel says, take the beach. Mm-hmm. And Cyclops says, this is right afterwards, like, drive them into the sea.
Yeah.
And just like, damn, these dudes are like the legit. They're throwing down.
So you're setting up that World War II kind of drama on Captain America's
yeah,
end, like Omaha Beach style. Well, like we're taking the X-Men.
Well, what's great is like they, like they're talking while they're fighting as every superhero does. And they're saying to each other, like, they're both trying to play the higher ground. And Cyclops is saying, like, listen, man. He's like, Captain America's like, you threw the first punch. He's like, well, you came here with 2 helicarriers full of Avengers. Yeah. What do you think was going to happen? He's like, well, this is the circumstances we've been laid out. So we're just like, they've both. It's almost like they've both been itching for this. Yeah. Like I've been wanting to knock this dude out for a while. I
think more so on Cyclops' end. I feel like Cap, it's below him. But on Cyclops' end, he's like,
yeah, he shows up.
I kind of wonder if I could take on Cap, and then he blasts him away in the first issue, and in this issue, he gets knocked the F out.
Captain America messes up Cyclops.
Yeah. Cyclops gets done, son, in this issue. Really, really excellent. Like, the first issue was like that teaser. This issue, you start to get, like, think about it this way, like, regardless of how you feel about the big 2 in Comicton, you get the high-profile battle in this, and it's it's fists are flying, but you also get really excellent dialogue within it too. Yeah. There's one little bit where I think it was a Thing maybe who said it, who goes, "Why don't you tell me Cyclops was this crazy?" And Wolverine's like, I have been. Yeah. He's like, I'll tell anybody who listens.
I had a war with this guy.
Yeah. We fought on a beach, and then a big sentinel showed up.
You know what's messed up though? Between this and reading like Wolverine the X-Men, it's very mismatched. Yeah. About who has who on what team. Like Wolverine's team compared to like to Cyclops' crew on Utopia. Mm-hmm. It's like everybody. Yeah. Every heavy hitter is on that. Even Storm.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a little moment with Storm and Black Panther. Looks like they're gonna get divorced eventually.
Yeah, and like Black Panther keeps getting he's getting dissed. And like these first 2 issues, he's just like, what do we do about this? And she's like, this is why we have marriage counseling. And he's like, I'm the king of Wakanda. Jimmy Olsen. Oh no. So and like you get some really cool stuff in this issue, and like you also kind of get like. That I'm glad the seeds were planted for this early, because it's Spidey and Wolverine, which has become one of my favorite team ups. Spidey and Wolverine going off, like finding the back entrance to Utopia, and
it's like, why are you always in sewers?
Yeah, like, and Wolverine saying like, I got to do what needs to be done. They find Hope, and
he's gonna pop the claws on her,
and he gets burned up by her. He gets lit up by the Phoenix Force, because now she's starting to develop it. Yeah, it's close enough that she's starting to
siphon it off. I still do not think she's gonna be the Phoenix.
I don't think so either.
I think it's gonna be Scarlet Witch.
Yeah. Well, you also have that panel, those panels in this where like it's her and Pedro watching TV.
That was awesome,
which is really cool. And he's like, "Come and help me," and he's like watching television, and then she just sits down, and like in her diary, it just says like,
"This is the way the world ends."
This is the way, and it's the Phoenix. Yeah. Also, like I was saying, like I'm glad the seeds are planted early with the fact that like the X-Men, regular X-Men, are calling Wolverine a traitor at this point now. Mm-hmm. And this dude, like, Wolverine has always been the guy that...
This does not help his story, though, by signing with the Avengers.
No, it doesn't. But he's always been the dude who doesn't care, Like, he'll always ride off on the motorcycle and come back months later and, like nothing's ever happened. Yeah. He's the ultimate character where, like, hey, I had some stuff to do. Yeah. Who's ready to party? Yeah. Like, he's that guy. But, you have some really cool stuff here, and it's you have the first touch of Colossus versus Red Hulk. Yeah. You have some cool Namor stuff. You have some cool Dr. X stuff. The Doctor Strange magic stuff is really cool, where like she takes, like, he's in limbo with magic. It's a really excellent book. I mean, like, the first both issues are definitely going to like more printings. I think they already did like a second or third printing on the first issue. Yeah. So I mean, like, even if you're a Fairweather comic fan, or just tune into the show because
it's Avengers versus X-Men.
Yeah, because you think we're cute and talk well and talk good, you can just pick it up.
Me talk pretty sometime.
Issue 1 and 2. I think we got time for one more, Andrew.
Yes.
Was that a yes?
Affirmative.
Yes.
Okay. We had 2 more books we want to talk about: Uncanny X-Force and Batman. Let's go Batman. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shame we can't talk about Uncanny
I know.
X-Force.
Uncanny X-Force was awesome this week.
Pick it up.
Really quick. Really cool, badass alternate universe Nightcrawler stuff.
He's amazing.
Really cool, well-written book. It's definitely a bit of a home run. It's only up to issue 24. You
Great
can pick up the entire
standalone
run.
issue. It's a great standalone issue.
Remender is killing it, but I feel like Batman outweighs it a little more.
Yeah, it was just, this is the beginning of something very big.
Yeah. Go ahead.
This is the beginning of the Night of the Owls.
The Court of Owls.
The Court of Owls storyline. Following up on the introduction of the new big bad guys in Batman's world. The secret organization that is the Court of Owls that has operated underneath Batman for hundreds of years, probably since the inception of Gotham.
Right.
They are the linchpin of Gotham. And Batman's losing it. He's really had the crap beaten out of him. Yeah, psychologically he's shot. He's just drained. And what the Court of Owls is doing is launching these undead superhuman dudes called the Talons, who have a strange tie to Nightwing as well, which is a big part of like Nightwing's issue. But in this issue, Batman just like lost it, and the Talons are attacking.
He needs medical help. Like he's in the cave. He's on the mend.
Yeah, he's not doing well.
Yeah.
And so the Talons are these like awesome badass assassin dudes. Each one is badass.
Don't know that he is Batman.
Yeah, so like what they're doing is the Court of Owls are taking out major members of Gotham. It's a hit list. So the mayor, like district attorney, like they're all getting killed. Right. Bruce Wayne's a big figure in Gotham, so they show up and they never specifically say it, but they're probably coming for Bruce Wayne more than they're coming for Batman.
The ultimate socialite.
Yeah, and like they come after him. They infiltrate the cave. They're these real cocky, weird, childlike voices, and they're mocking him, and it's Batman doing stuff on his own home grounds along with Alfred.
Yeah.
Dude, it rocks.
There's really, really cool bits on this, and as a fan, like I always cringe a little bit when they bring the action close to the cave. Because
it's dangerous.
It's dangerous, and it's also like sometimes it could be handled a little poorly. I feel like the last time they did this in a really excellent way was Nightfall.
Yeah. Well, it's always reminiscent of that.
Yeah, but like in this one,
especially a threat like this where it could actually mean Batman getting his ass kicked.
Right. So like he's on the mend. They go after Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne's fighting back, and they discover that this dude is Batman. Alfred's locked up in like a panic room, basically, like a high-tech panic room. One really cool thing that I always enjoy the fact that Scott Snyder does this. He'll throw like the little doses of Batman technology, where in this one he has like the iris. Like the computerized like contact lens. Basically.
Meanwhile, he just was being told by Alfred that like one of your eyes aren't functioning properly.
Yeah.
Your cornea knocked out.
Right, and so he's like kind of blind in one eye, and he's fighting these dudes, and they corner him, and Bruce Wayne goes into the panic room, and these guys are like, the thing about this threat, which I feel like is the good way out, because it's not going to be a bunch of dudes running around knowing who Batman is because they're undead. They're pretty much reanimated like murderers and thieves or whatever. So they're locked in the panic room, and Alfred turns to him and says, "Hey, like they have weakness to cold. Like I'm gonna turn down the temperature in the cave, so maybe they'll freeze. But I don't think that door's gonna last very long. Like, what should we do?" And Batman turns around and says, "I think I got something in here that'll help." Now we talked about this before, and we both thought it was gonna be like
Arctic gear,
or like Mr. Freeze stuff, like some.
I thought it was gonna pull out like an Owlman costume or something.
Right.
I thought like that famous cover of a Batman with like the 8 different costumes, like in the Silver Age of the zebra costume. I thought it was gonna be like one of those crazy like Morrison-esque weirdo costumes.
I expected that moment as well, but like,
what'd you get?
Like you're trusting in Scott Snyder, who writes a phenomenal Batman, and you get a Batman in like a
crazy steampunk like boilerplate. He looks like a furnace.
Yeah, you get Batman in a furnace costume, basically, where like he slams, like he's in a giant robot costume,
go,
which is kind of reminiscent of the Kingdom Come like armor, you know,
Yeah.
like not the armor that he was wearing, but like the patrol bots in Kingdom Come, you know. So it's like he's got like a grill, a giant metal Batman helmet, and like he's got like a barrel chest, and he slams open the door, and he's like, "Get out of my house!" And that's the way the issue kind of ends, man. Like you have
they have the backup after that as well.
Yeah.
But it was so like you didn't know where it was going, and plus, you know what? I can honestly feel like with the invasion of Wayne Manor, it does feel like there is a threat.
Yeah.
Because the last few issues have been building on the idea of one single Talon being a massive threat to Batman. I mean, he basically lost to him for the most part. He had to blow up this dude to win and then drown himself.
Now he's facing a bunch of them.
Now he's facing an entire army that's infiltrating your house. And so what they're also a big part of this is that this is a big crossover. This is going to be falling into all the Batman books and the Bat family. So basically Alfred calls out to the network and activates everybody and says, like, you know, this is the shit that's going on. Come down to Gotham. You got to save some people. So it's like Red Hood, Bird of Prey, Nightwing,
Robin,
Catwoman.
Yeah. They're all, you know, they're the call to action from Alfred. It's a really well-handled book. Honestly, regardless of the relaunch, Batman is the #1 book in DC for me right now.
Oh, yeah, totally. Without question. This is the one that I'm if it came out this on a week that was as big as it was this week, and there's a lot of great books this week that we can't cover. But Batman makes it to the top of the pile. It's one of the ones that makes me very, very excited. But like this was a great week in books.
We're also very spoiled by the fact that we've gotten consistently good Batman for the last maybe 4 years.
Oh yeah, we've had a lot of crappy Batman before that too.
Yeah. But we're getting like good Batman. Yeah. And it's awesome, you know, like between Scott Snyder and Grant Morrison, like you as a fan, like you can't really ask for anything more because these guys are taking it to the next level and they're really handling it. And it's like the way Scott Snyder writes Batman, it's a breath of fresh air where like you kind of almost forget about the past and you're kind of like, this is all right. It's like redefining the Batman character and this is bringing it back to his roots and this and that, you know, like it's not so much meta stuff going on. It's just like firm guy in Gotham, fighting the bad guys,
shaking hands,
getting his butt kicked, shaking hands, doing this, and I think that's bad.
He was. It's a great testament to. It's a great run between this Detective Comics was so different when Snyder was doing it from what it is now.
Yeah.
This is very much like mainstream Batman. You know, like this is this ain't Daniel O'Neill Batman. This is like your full blown like. You could sell this book to anybody, and we're all going to take something different from it. We always love Batman at Wit's End. This is it.
Yeah. And
plus, dude, like Court of Owls, great bad guys.
That is the Cape Crusader at its finest. Absolutely. Good, and a good addition to the Rogues Gallery.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, on that note, again, many great books this week. You go pick them up. You had Punisher, Amazing Spider-Man, Prophet, Walking Dead. What else do we have?
Iron Man,
Wolverine and the X-Men.
Yeah.
Just a lot of good stuff.
Hulk. Venom.
Yeah.
Read Venom, guys. Support that book.
Manhattan Project's #2.
Guys, read Venom. This is the first time and the last time you'll hear me saying this about a Venom book. If Rick Venom was not in this book, I'd be very upset. Yeah. Read Venom.
Venom is a fantastic read, everybody. Go read some comics. Check it out.
It's going to be raining out all weekend. Go to the comic book store.
It is. And remember, we love each and every one of you. I'm Rich Stambolian.
I'm the Fisher King.
Good night, everybody.